You know that moment when you think you've finally found your slice of paradise, only for some self-important busybody to crash the party and try to snatch it away? Yeah, well, picture this. I'm standing on my dock, salt air whipping around me, watching as Victoria Hargrove's fancy yacht pulls up like she owns the ocean itself, flanked by a couple of speedboats and a seaplane buzzing overhead like a bad omen. She steps off in her polished heels, clipboard in hand, and hits me with this smug grin, declaring my whole island my new home off the Maine coast falls under a phony homeowners association, and I better pay up or get out. And that's when the real storm started brewing. Let me back up a bit. I'm Jack Harlan, pushing 40, and 3 weeks ago I snagged Whisper Point Island through a federal program after helping bust a smuggling ring in my old Coast Guard days. It wasn't luck or family money. I testified against these shady operators using remote spots like this for their dirty deals, and in return, the feds let me pick from seized assets this 12-acre rock with its old lighthouse, a cozy renovated keeper's house, and a hidden airstrip that screamed perfect hideaway. I told folks it was just a quiet retirement spot, but deep down, it felt like a fresh start after years of chasing ghosts on the water, that inner tug where you're done with the chaos, ready to breathe easy among the pines and crashing waves. First couple days were bliss. Wandering trails carved by who knows what bootleggers back in Prohibition, uncovering World War II bunkers turned into off-grid power setups with solar panels and a desalination rig that kept everything running smooth. I was up on a lighthouse balcony one morning, tinkering with a new radar system disguised as weather gear. But hey, old habits die hard when I hear this drone of engines cutting through the fog. And there she is, Victoria, marching up like a queen, inspecting her kingdom. She was mid-50s, all Botox and boardroom vibe, with her entourage, a photographer snapping away like at a crime scene, a guy in a sheriff's uniform that screamed, "Rent a cop," and a few yes-men in matching blazers. "Mr. Harlan," she says, voice dripping with that fake politeness that hides a knife. "I'm Victoria Hargrove, chair of the Bayview Estates HOA, and according to our 1892 charter here, look at this ancient-looking paper your island's under our oversight. You owe $40,000 in back fees from the prior owners, plus $4,000 monthly for coastal upkeep, and we'll need full access to inspect everything." I just stood there, wrench in hand, smelling her overpowering perfume clashing with the sea breeze, and spotted the tells right away. The document's font was too crisp for 1892. Seals looked printed, not stamped, and it referenced buoys that weren't even placed till the 30s. But she kept going, "Oh, and if it's too much hassle, we'd be happy to buy you out cash, quick close, no fuss." Her eyes had that greedy glint, like she was sizing up the place for her own empire, probably to flip it to developers or hide whatever skeleton she had buried here. I felt this knot in my gut, not just anger, but that old intelligence officer instinct kicking in, whispering this wasn't random. She needed this spot bad, maybe tied to the old smuggling vibes I'd shut down. I played it cool. "Sure, I'll run this by my lawyer, but mind if I snap some pics for my records?" And as I did, her smile tightened. "Mr. Harlan, resistance isn't wise. We have connections that make things difficult for outsiders." It was a veiled threat, pure power play from someone used to bullying folks out of their homes, driven by her thirst for control over prime waterfront land that could launder her shady deals. Her, sheriff, avoided my eyes, and as they piled back onto their boats, she tossed over her shoulder, "That radar setup? Unapproved. $800 fine, payable now." I watched them speed off, her yacht's Bahamian flag flapping like a red herring, and that's when the harassment cranked up calls at dawn about environmental violations. Boats circling with blaring horns and cameras pointed my way, even vandalism one night. "Surrender or suffer" scrawled on my dock, tires slashed on my float plane. It gnawed at me, this invasion of my peace, making me question if solitude was worth the fight. But then I found the old logbook in a hidden panel, listing her yacht docking 15 times at odd hours, always before big shipments in the Coast Guard reports I'd seen. She wasn't just a HOA tyrant. She was neck deep in the old ring, desperate to reclaim her stash spot before I dug too deep. By day 5, I'd had enough. I called my old boss, Admiral Ellis Kane, in code. Birds are nesting aggressive. Might need a weather check. He got it. Hang tight, forecast changing. But Victoria escalated first, rolling in at dawn with a flotilla. 12 boats, barges hauling excavators, and 25 goons in fake tactical vests marked enforcement. She megaphoned from her yacht. "Jack Harlan, we're demolishing these hazards under HOA mandate, safety first." Her voice cracked with that manic edge, eyes wild like a cornered animal protecting her turf. The bulldozers roared to life, smashing my shed into splinters, gouging the airstrip, while her crew doused files they'd ripped from the house with gas, yelling, "Burn the violations." I shouted back, "This is federal land, your trashing stop now." But she laughed. "We own the bay. You're the intruder." Her words laced with that bitter envy of someone who'd clawed her way up stepping on little guys, now facing a mark who wouldn't fold. My heart pounded, watching my new life crumble, the kitchen wall caving, lighthouse shaking, but I hit the beacon, that sat phone lifeline screaming federal asset under siege. And boom rotors thumping over the horizon. 3 Coast Guard choppers swooping in like eagles on prey, fast roping teams in black gear hitting the ground. "Freeze! U.S. Coast Guard, you're under arrest for assault on protected property." Victoria spun, flare gun waving. "This is my jurisdiction." But a sniper pinged it from her hand with a beanbag round, and she dropped, screeching as they cuffed her. "You trapped me, who are you really?" The goons, turns out, hired extras thinking it was a gig folded like cards, blubbering. She said it was just role play. Cutters boxed her yacht. FBI choppers landed, and by noon, they'd unearthed her secrets. $10 million cash and drugs buried near the bunkers. Texts proving her HOA was a front for trafficking, stealing spots like mine to control routes. She was coordinating it all, motivated by greed and that God complex from years of unchecked power, bullying families out of homes worth millions. In the end, Victoria got 40 years for conspiracy, terrorism charges sticking because she torched federal evidence. Her hubby fled, but got nabbed at the airport with laundered funds. The feds rebuilt my island tougher, reinforced lighthouse, upgraded strip, and it became a quiet outpost. My daughter Mia visiting summers, inspired to join the Guard herself after seeing justice drop from the sky. But here's the thing that lingers: was it all black and white? Or did folks like her start with good intentions, twisted by the system? Makes you wonder about those HOA letters in your mailbox. Drop a comment below. Ever dealt with a power-hungry neighbor or bored? Who's really the villain in community feuds, the rule makers or the rebels? Share your story. Let's unpack this together.